Raiders.
Raider person.
Raiders. In your heart, in your small screen, in your living room. Raiders.
Hey, Raider personnel, everybody. Raider Mac, Raider Ken here. Ready to talk about the first start of the week, the first week of the combine. We have, at least a little more details on what these teams are going to be doing. What are they talking about? I mean, it sounds all generic BS as usual, but at the same time, we get to look at these players, man, and we get to look at what is out there, who's coming to the draft, and what are they showing up for. Unfortunately, the person we want to see, Shedeur, not showing up to the combine. Ward, I guess he's on the fence, right?
He's on the fence.
I think what stood out so far. Yeah. He might throw. We don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
But a lot of the presser is what I've been watching, seeing what John Spytek's been kind of out there saying, which is, one thing that stood out to me. There was a question about, have their minds made up about who the quarterback is going to be? And the answer was pretty much, hey, we're going to look at everything. We're going to take a look at who this player is and what do we want to see in the silver and black and compare those two and then make a decision on that. So to me, it sounds like a sound answer, but at the same time, very corporate. So
definitely,
I mean, who knows, man?
I mean,
who knows what's in this chat, but go ahead.
You like to see that, though. You like to see, like, the message stays the same, even though it's like a corporate thing. It's like, all right, we keeping things in-house, that we're a real organization now. And, and then, you always don't want to burn any feathers because, like, we could get Matthew Stafford, or we could not. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to say we're out there, we need a quarterback when, in the end, if AOC is our guy, you didn't want to just take away his, whatever he felt good about. So, and I love the answers, and, and most of these pressers, you just want to see if everything stays the same, that, they're not buckling with what they were saying. They're not carrying themselves the way that they did at the very first time we saw the presser.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it is, So he did talk about, what he was looking for, what he needs in the quarterback. Even Pete Carroll had his moments where he was like, if we do get a quarterback, but we don't have pieces around him, what good is it? So you're like, I get it. So it's like, what are we going to do? We're keeping ourselves open with the number 6 pick. We could be just blowing smoke in the air so people don't pick, they think we're not going to pick a quarterback. Maybe they don't pick Sanders. Maybe like, okay, let me try to trade back and get Sanders since he's not, this type of quarterback or, first round prospect.
Right.
And then we can bite the bullet in that round. So you never know. And it's a deep draft. It's a deep draft of running backs, tight ends, corners, edge rushers as well. There's a lot of edge rushers with potentials and corners. Running backs, you can get really good running backs in the 3rd round, 4th round, 2nd round. So, it's like the only weak part, I believe, is the line position, the offensive line position. Like it's top heavy. And then, and the quarterback. So,
right.
I mean, the receivers will be right after that. So, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, it's you're right. It's great that he comes out with these answers because it's sound and keeping it playing the close to the chest. You're not letting people know what's going on. And then again, they're not really allowed to say much. You heard when they asked the question about Stafford, it was like, well, I can't really talk about other guys on other teams.
Other players.
But of course, you're going to be interested. So are the Pittsburgh Steelers, and so are the Giants, right? So
a lot of teams.
I think the Giants. You said the Giants for Stafford might be of a better.
I feel like that's our biggest competition. Just because the Giants, they have the media, obviously they hadn't looked good for the past couple of years, but Brian Daboll was a really good coach. He just it's hard to play with a bad quarterback.
So bad line too.
Bad line too. Yeah. So they can always go that route. And I could see the Giants easily give up more than the Raiders because we need a lot of work. Like even if we get Stafford, we can't give up so many draft picks because we have to replenish. He ain't gonna be cheap either, so that's gonna cost us money. If we get him, there's gonna be other free agents that we won't be able to get or have to let go.
Right.
So it's that changes a lot. And, we can also be in a scenario where the Giants pick up Stafford and still draft the second quarterback that's left in the third with the third pick because, Stafford's an older player. You're going to get one really good year maybe, and the second year maybe. by
Right.
the 3rd year, he's either done or retiring. And, 2 years sitting behind him,
Yeah.
that's a good pick. So, and they don't need no other receiver help. They have a really good left tackle, so they don't need as much as we do. So they can give up maybe that 2nd round pick, and if they get Sanders with it as well, then we're kind of stuck with AOC. So you don't want to kill
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I've loved the
True.
answers, and Pete Carroll, same thing. I know who do like Stafford a lot is, Tom Brady. Thank God they ran
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
each other randomly, in Montana.
Yeah. Yeah. There was some tweet about that. I heard. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Huh?
yeah, and the other I heard is it
They go
was like
golfing.
it was more than a day. It was more of a weekend.
Okay.
Of course they
Yeah.
talked about that. They said that, of course Matthew Stafford said they didn't talk about nothing about joining the Raiders, nothing about that. It was just
Right.
2 people just, running into each
Hanging
other.
out.
So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
played their
Yeah. Yeah.
cards right, but we all know the truth.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
know the
Exactly.
truth. Yeah. He's like, "Hey man, look,
Yeah.
I did it when I was 40 years old. I know what you need. Our team may have not been this good in the past, but look at what we have. Look what we're selling you.
Yeah. We're
We
doing
try to
something
get a
bigger. Yeah.
difference
Something better.
maker."
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right. And they got
yeah, and
tools.
then
Dude, the Raiders have
mhm.
weapons to support Stafford. So
Oh
that's the
yeah.
big question if he would come. The choice is up to Stafford at this point, right? He's got to go according to Shefter. It's the ball's in his court, in
Yeah.
Stafford's court. That he's,
It has to
whether
be
does he want to
him.
move or does he, just want to stay there?
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, the Rams are going to end up paying the guy, you know,
Right.
and who knows what they're going to do in the draft. They're probably, they're really late in the draft, so who knows if they're going to want to move up or whatever.
The late
And that
20s,
might
yeah.
even take, getting rid of other players on the staff instead of just Stafford. But anyways, enough about the Rams. The Giants, we mentioned, and they have a free agent that I'm interested in Darius Slayton, which,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a wide receiver. He's mediocre, but dude's, you know,
Yeah, he
had
was
some pretty
really
decent
big.
numbers the year before. So,
Yeah, I think he was with Philly, and he did really good with Philly, I think it was, and then the Giants signed him to that big contract,
right.
and he never lived up to it. So, for us would be if he's not gonna be a number 1. So if we're bringing
Yeah.
in him, I'm assuming we're gonna make Jacoby number 1, him number 2, and then Brock Bowers, and then, everybody else in line.
Yeah.
If we do ended up, the draft plays out where we get T-Mac from Arizona, then, it'll be T-Mac, Jacoby, and then Darius Slayton as a 3, which,
Yeah.
I like that one. And then Brock Bowers as the 4. And,
Yeah.
if we have Matthew Stafford, that's a really good team. That's a really, really good team. So I
Yeah. Just
wouldn't be
kill it.
mad about it, but it
Be
would have to be
contenders,
like
dude.
everything else. Exactly. It have to be
Yeah.
everything else. Like he's not
Yeah.
as worth it if we don't get Stafford. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I've never remembered him or, one of the things that I have heard about him, it was never like, he was a mentor or anything like that. So if we don't have Stafford, there's no need for him. He's just the young guys, or somebody with potential, on the cheap and then work their way up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say. We might go after a guard in the free agency. I know there's the Jackson. I know he's a right tackle for the Rams. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
A lot of people said that he's like a diamond in the rough. Like he
Right.
might be a free agent steal. And then if I see them doing that, that's probably means either we're gonna put Glaze in as a guard, move him inside, and then have Jackson out there as a right tackle, which won't be too bad either because we know Glaze can pass block. So and he's big enough to do the run blocking, and then that's one less draft pick that we have to put into as a guard. And, maybe that was, the plan was maybe to use a 2nd round pick on the guard, but now not anymore. Now we can
Yeah.
push it back to a 5th or 6th rounder, somebody with potential, and then really use that for, whatever else we want to do. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's pretty much, that would be a good choice if we had Stafford. We definitely have to go in and try to get a receiver. The guys that we have on the roster besides Jacoby, they're all like, specialists or, 3rd or 4th,
Yeah.
receivers in the team, not 1 and 2.
Yeah. Would you go after Dobbins? I mean, he's getting 8 million right now with
Yeah.
well, last year's contract. I guess he's a free agent this year, and
You should be,
yes, he is
yeah.
a free agent this year.
He's pretty much like Abdullah.
Right, but
They,
younger.
small, yeah, but younger, exactly, but younger. I think JK has had like a significant injury in his past.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So
Mhm.
and he's a good hands. He has great hands, so he's catching on the
Right,
out backfield. That's everybody's like favorite thing. Like a quarterback, if your O line,
yeah,
falls apart, pass it to your running back. A rookie
right,
quarterback, the safest throw you can do is, check down to your running back. So that helps out a lot. So it would be good, but that also means, we're not bringing in Abdullah. And what do they feel about the guy we drafted last year who was supposed to be that type of back and stuff like
right.
that? And, if you're bringing in J.K. Dobbins, that's the same thing. Like, that's me. I'm also assuming we're bringing in Stafford, and that's why we're bringing him
Yeah.
in to help.
Well, that's
But,
the key piece, man. I think that the Raiders need to
yeah,
address that as well because if they're going to bring in, even if they bring in AOC,
yeah,
worst case scenario, I'm not even in worst case scenario because AOC's all right. I give him,
right, yeah, he
I
did
give
his
him,
part. Yeah,
50-50. Yeah, he did his part, but you need a running back to protect the
hmm,
quarterback, or at least to give him
you do.
time, etc. So, I mean, from there, what do we do? We go depend on the draft. I mean, 'cause J.K. Dobbins, yeah, you're right. He's a similar player to Abdullah. Uh, you know, but it
Right?
is another
Yeah,
hand. Zamir's not doing his shit. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah. No, I don't think. I mean, the what's going bad for Zamir is that the people who did draft him are no longer there. And so he's like, and from what we saw, how would you feel, any kind of,
Yeah,
you know, confidence in him as a back, even as a backup back. But which is also a good reason why, we have a draft that's full of running backs and like really good
exactly.
ones in this. And like I know Jinty is like the number one guy, but he's probably gonna be a first rounder. And I mean, we made that mistake. I don't want to say it's a mistake, but we spend a first rounder on Josh Jacobs. And in the end, what did we do? We didn't want to give the running back a second contract. So,
Yeah,
whenever you do that, you got to have somebody there that can, make it worth picking that up. So
yeah.
I don't see
Well,
us, I don't see us drafting. But
you don't see us drafting, but Mel Kiper, the guy who does this
Kiper,
for a living,
Mel
he's got
Kiper,
us taking Agenti at 6, which you just said
who,
you don't agree with, and Sanders going to the Jets at number 7, which is crazy as hell.
mm,
This is this week's draft as of Wednesday, February 26th.
that's insane.
26th.
That's insane. Like like why? Like for a team that needs so much help
Yeah.
everywhere else, and a draft that's supposedly deep, like with running backs.
Yeah.
Like why? It makes no sense. And then to have Sanders
Yeah.
on the board at number 7, that's even crazier. So
But he's
yeah,
known
and
as
I
a
could,
generational player, though, this guy Genti. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
but we're not there yet. We don't need a generational player. You know what I'm saying? If we want a generational player, I'd rather, risk the drafts from moving up and getting somebody like Carter,
Like
Abdul
Cam.
Carter. Yeah, or Cam. I mean, with Cam, I don't know. I'm okay with like waiting for Sanders. I don't want to give up so much for
Yeah.
Cam when he's like not that big of a prospect.
Right.
But what if Sanders is not there? Like, I could see a scenario where, let's say, the scenario happens where, um, what do you call it? We get the Rams. I mean, we get Stafford.
Yeah.
Ward
Stafford.
goes number 1. Travis Hunter goes number 2. Sanders goes number 3. And then
Yeah.
4, let's say the Patriots go with the best tackle in the game, and they got a left tackle. And then the Jaguars,
Right.
they have 2 great edge rushers. They really need is interior rush. So let's say they go after, the badass defensive tackle.
Right.
Then at number 6, yeah, there's Genty, but there's also the cornerback Will, and there's
Yeah.
the real
Will Johnson.
generational player, Abdul
Abdul
Carter.
Card.
So if you're gonna take Genty in that scenario over Carter, we should have fired Spytek. That should be, like, what we should do because that
Yeah.
guy's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the guy. If you can get Abdul Carter with Crosby in that scenario, with Matthew Stafford as the quarterback, we just saw what a
Right.
D-line can do to Patrick Mahomes. We
Or
play that
even
guy
Sam
twice a
Darnold. Let's
year.
just say we don't get Stafford. Stafford decides to stay in LA. You can
Mhm.
consider Sam Darnold. And
We
you have
could
a
do Sam
decent offense
Darnold's
still.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
you
We
got
can
a
do Sam
deadly
Darnold's.
fucking D line, dude.
Yeah, that would be insane. You're talking about Crosby, Christian
Yeah.
Wilkinson, Adam Butler is the other tackle, and then Abdul Carter. And let's say we bring back Koontz. Let's say if Koontz wants to take a 1-year deal to, refix his value after the injury.
Right.
Man, that's a hell of a
Right.
rotation. You could literally have all 4 of them on a dime package, on a pass rushing package. Koontz, Abdul Carter, Crosby, and Christian Wilkinson.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
shit's
that
scary.
would be nasty. Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
route I'll take. I'm not taking Genti. I'm only taking Genti if I'm trading back to the mid-20s or early 20s, and if that's the case, that means I picked
Yeah.
up, like, 2 first round, so this year and the next
Right.
year first rounders, so, and then, we obviously got, Stafford, so our quarterback situation's a lot better.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what Kiper's thinking, I've definitely seen some crazy things in the past with his, mock drafts, but no, man, you're not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't
No.
yeah, no,
Even
I
with
know that
Stafford.
stood out. I was like, "Why
Yeah.
Genty?" Like, I mean, they're like, yeah, this is an in-depth class of
Uh-huh.
running backs and tight ends,
Yeah.
and all that. And so,
Yeah. And corners.
for me,
So,
it doesn't make sense. I mean, what a
yeah.
he's like his plea or his case is that the free agency with Stafford, and depending on whether
Yeah.
Stafford gets it or not, if we get Stafford, yeah, you're right. Why would we go for Genty? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Better to go for the Abdul Carter if he's available.
Exactly. If
And
he's available.
then, but
Yeah.
yeah, so and then
And then,
Stanford. Another thing that stands out is Sanders going for the Jets at 7, which I mean, I don't know
yeah,
why. I mean,
I don't see
is
it.
this him not joining the combine or something he knows? That uh
Yeah. Jets are desperate too.
Sanders don't do. Yeah, yeah, Jets are
Yeah.
something else. They're another beast.
Yeah.
At the same time, what does Chip Kelly have to say with this? You think Chip Kelly's gonna like a Genty kind of? You know, you think he utilizes him better than to say a mobile quarterback, or not even a mobile quarterback? Because Sanders is not a mobile quarterback. He's a
Yeah. He's
pocket.
not mobile.
He's a
Yeah.
Mahomes type of
Pocket.
guy. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, you think that'll be in the cards because Chip Kelly?
Oh, you definitely have to take in Chip Kelly's, opinion. But the one thing about Chip Kelly that he did say a lot in his interviews is that he will adjust his offense. Like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
base will be the same, but he will adjust it for the type of quarterback and for the type of offense. And we got somebody like Genty. He's definitely going to want to involve more running, especially if AO. I mean, even if we do have Stafford, he's still an older quarterback. You don't want him tossing the rock
Yeah,
30, 40 times. So yeah, you do want a run game to give him the breaks to, get the defense tired, get our defense resting and all that stuff. But, you can get one in the second and third round. There's like,
yeah,
and let's say we don't get, like you said, we don't get Stafford, but we get the guy from the Vikings, what's his name?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had the best receiver in the league. Like,
Yeah,
if we're gonna get Sam Darnold, we're gonna have to probably try to get T Mac and give him the weapons to make a difference.
true.
So, like, that
Okay.
would be the other thing. Stafford is a guy that he could put the game on his back and be like, "All right, let me get it to my guys." Darnold is
Right.
like you have to give him
He
everything.
relies on the
Yeah,
receiver. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, and all of that is like why Genty just does not make sense. I just
Yeah.
read to the later rounds, and the fact that what we saw out of McCormick too, like it was enough to give this guy a shot. And so
Yeah.
if we ended up getting Genty, what if McCormick is also really good? Like, yeah, it's great. We got 2 really good backs, but we
Mhm.
could have had 1 really good back, 1 badass D
Yeah.
end, or 1 badass receiver,
Right.
or
Right.
even
Right.
1
Right.
badass
Just
offensive
fulfilling
guard.
other pieces that are
Yeah,
definitely needed for sure, man.
so
And,
much
yeah,
needed.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just don't see us passing on Sanders. And I like I said, I can see the same scenario with,
Yeah.
with the Giants that I said about the Giants. Like if Sanders there at number 6 and we have Stafford,
Yeah.
Tom Brady worked with Sanders. Like I could still see us drafting Sanders with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it won't be, it'll be kind of like, what I'm saying about Genty. Like, yeah, Genty would help the Raiders more this year than quarterback if we have Stafford. But you never know. Stafford might get injured. He might get he might be his final year, and then we're back next year trying to find a quarterback. And if
True.
Stafford's really good, we're not going to be in the top of the draft finding a quarterback. So, yeah, man, we
Right.
just got to
Right.
see how
Right.
it plays out. but not
Well,
Genti at 6. Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
So in other ways, there's other ways to protect the quarterback, and that's definitely right with the O line strengthening. What JPJ can do, what DJ Glaze has done, and help them improve by drafting the
Oh, yeah.
guards. Any guards that stand out. I mean, we have a couple listed. We have Tyler Booker from Alabama,
Mhm.
6'5", 352. So pretty good. Great
Yeah,
arm
big
length
boy.
and
Big
needs some
dude.
footwork,
Big
which
dude.
is
Yeah.
yeah, what I keep
That's
hearing.
that's
And then
all
of
coaching.
course, yeah,
All
yeah.
coaching, baby. Yeah.
Like you said, I
Yeah.
mean, big dudes, at least the D line, O line, those guys tend to be more, not necessarily the D line, but the O line is more of players that will play longer periods
Yeah.
and don't
Exactly,
necessarily,
yeah.
they just have to be a big wall. So,
They're pretty much, yeah, especially
yeah,
guard. Yeah, tackles, you gotta
yeah,
have the footwork because 'cause you're getting those types of DN.
right.
But guards, you're usually getting a help with, with the center or a tackle or the tight end, and, you gotta just be able to be there. Like, yeah, we do a
Right.
little bit more zones, but you want them to be able to
Yeah.
have a nice little,
Yeah.
cone
That's
drill.
awareness as well, though. That's awareness,
Mhm.
kind of like a
Yeah.
cornerback. You know what I'm saying? You're
Exactly,
playing for awareness
exactly.
and
Exactly, and then these guards, they're gonna be in the later rounds, and that's what we're
yeah,
gonna really need because, let's
exactly.
say if we do let's say we get T-Mac in the 1st round. 2nd round, we can try to get a guard or we can try to get a corner. 3rd rounds, that's when you probably wanna start seeing the running backs. You probably wanna get a running
Yeah.
back in the 3rd round. And then 4th, 5th, and 6th is where you wanna find those guards, 4th rounder, you can find, like, maybe a little,
Yeah.
somebody that somehow, some way just, didn't shine enough, but is still from a good program.
Right.
And then we always have the Alabama guards, Ohio State has Donovan Jackson,
Right.
they have some big
Yep.
dudes that can, do some damage. And, and it's also, we have solid O-line, JPJ and, Glaze and our left tackle, those are really solid
Yep.
pieces. And so we have a legit tight end that can block. So it's just, it'll be solid. And, we can always have, I mean, look, Glaze wasn't like some big time prospect. And look what
Right.
happened,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
who
Yeah. Yeah.
knows how he's going to be his 2nd year. Like, we forget
Right.
that this dude's a rookie, like
Right.
rookie playing right tackle against the monsters we have in our division, let alone the rest of the NFL. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Like
we can,
yep.
yeah.
Exactly.
And Alabama and Ohio State, these are big time schools that do big time offenses. They're not like schools that are like, the lower levels who are not going against these big monsters. Cause as far as I've always remembered about Alabama is like their offensive line was always the biggest ones.
Exactly.
Like, so that's a good guard.
Yeah, no, you can't go bad at this point, right? With the third or fourth round guards.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when stats are coming back pretty good. 6'4",
Yep.
320. You know what I mean? 540 on the 40.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
this is pretty well. I mean, but
Yeah.
another part of the defense that's also crucial, and I think the Raiders need the cornerbacks, right? The
Oh,
cornerbacks. We're
for
gonna look at
sure.
drafting quarterback or cornerbacks.
Hmm.
Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame sticks out. The guy's
Yeah.
6 interceptions in the season.
Yeah. Pretty
So
good.
I
Yeah.
mean
He's going
that's
to be in
pretty
the
damn
1st or
good.
2nd round. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the things with these is like, we also don't know what's going to be the run on. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there going to be a run in guards or ends? Like, is there
Yeah.
going to be a position that moves up that pushes another position down? Like, yeah, maybe corners deep. So maybe people are like, oh, maybe I won't get a corner in the 1st round, besides the 2 big
Right.
ones.
Right.
And then, and looking at this, Benjamin Morrison is not even like the 2nd or 3rd best corners. I know there's Jared Jihad or something like that. It was another guy. There's 2 other guys
Yeah.
besides Travis Hunter and Will Cameron.
And, and
Um,
Will Johnson. Yeah.
that and Will Johnson, yeah, that are like legit corners, like the top of the food chain. And then we got
Yeah.
folks like Darian Strong, Virginia
Right.
Tech's known
Virginia
for
Tech.
having
Yep.
good corners because,
Right.
I know they've been like physical corners and stuff like that. Um, he's good with his feet, his timing is pretty good.
Yep.
He's a willing tackler and all of that. So, there's things like that. Quincy Riley, Darian Porter. There's
Quincy Riley. Love
a
him.
lot of different people we can get. So that's why I'm also
Yeah.
like we don't have to get Travis Hunter
Right.
or, the Will Johnson, the corner. Like, we can always wait till maybe the 2nd round, or maybe we
Yeah.
trade up from the 2nd round pick, you know. trade up second and something else, and then move up in the late first, and boom, we go in and we
Yeah,
get our
no, in the first
cornerback.
round, you either
So,
get the cornerback, get the receiver, wide receiver, or you get the
mhm.
quarterback. So
Yeah,
that's the first round. The second round, I would go for definitely somewhere with the O line,
corner. Mhm. Oh,
and
you
then
want
corner.
O-line?
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
want O line, man. I want to strengthen that O
Okay,
line,
okay.
and just to make sure that the quarterback, because it could be AOC. At the end of
Yeah,
the day,
it
it could
could be
be AOC.
AOC, yeah.
So
And he has
yeah,
no mobility,
so you
need a
need
solid
time.
line.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
need time. And then of course, like you said, running back depth, third, you go look for a running back, fourth, you
Yeah.
look for the cornerbacks that may be sitting there. That's, like you said, there's an abundance of them. So
Oh, yeah.
uh
Pretty good
so
amount.
like, I heard today Darian Porter out of I forgot what school.
Yeah, but he's a big dude. He's like 6'2", he's
Yeah,
right
six
below
two,
pounds, so, that's good
right.
size, good weight.
From Iowa State. Yeah.
Yeah, Iowa State, yeah, so, that's yeah, there's a lot of different talents that we can go after in the cornerback
Yeah.
position. So, and like, honestly, I feel like we're gonna have to get 2 or 3, so that's why I don't mind if we go after in the second round, we get a cornerback, third round running back, fourth guard, and then, depending,
Yeah.
I don't know the rest of our picks, if we have more picks in the third, multiple picks in the third and fourth, and then I would also use that for, like, our
Yeah, that's
third
true.
corners. So
Right.
it's like there's things you gotta
Hmm.
play with and you gotta see what the run is.
Yeah.
Like, what if there's because there's also supposed to be a lot of DNs in this draft as well. So what if, after what Philly did, everybody's like, okay, let's just get a bunch of DNs. So what if there's like a run of DNs? Then
I
we're like,
see.
okay, now we can adjust our draft because people
Yeah.
who we thought weren't going to be there when we come back
You're right.
around can be
Yeah.
there. And, what's left, you know, where can we sacrifice? Maybe we miss out on a running back and, instead of getting one of the really good ones or the top ones in the third, we'll get one that, potential in the fourth or fifth. So,
Right.
things like that will really change. And we barely just started the combine too. So, the interviews,
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
show, yeah, all of that's going to
Yep.
matter too. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
exactly. And
excited
then
for
no,
this draft. I mean, it's,
coming back
huh?
to what John Spytek said, or Spytek, is that, they're going to evaluate everything. They're going to look at
Yeah.
everything and just breathe, take it all in, because you're right. There's so many possibilities. And
Yeah,
at the
it's
end of the
so
day,
many
the plan isn't
possibilities.
it doesn't come out as planned necessarily.
Exactly. Yeah, like Abdul Carter is the best player in the draft, but
Yeah.
typically you always go quarterback number one, and then
Yeah.
Sanders, the second best quarterback, where people consider him a second or third rounder, is
Yeah.
going to go top five or top six with us,
Right.
so that changes everything, and then,
Yeah.
Abdul Carter is, do the Browns want, they have to get rid of Myles Garrett. Do they want to make Abdul
Yeah.
Carter replace Myles Garrett and put all that pressure on him? You
Yeah.
can always go after Travis Hunter or get a quarterback.
Yeah.
And then, the Giants, depending on who they get as a quarterback, if they don't, maybe they go after Sam Darnold. I haven't heard too much about
Right.
that, but you never know.
Right.
What if they get a quarterback, or if
Or
not, maybe
Cousins.
they get Travis Hunter. Yeah, or
Yeah.
Cousins. So, it's like you never know. Abdul Carter already the best player in the draft, and he's already passed 3 picks. You know what I'm saying? Now he's at
Mhm.
4 with the Patriots, where they can do that. But the Patriots, they need to get their quarterback right. So they can go after T Mac or the best tackle in the game, and they need both. So, I don't see them, going after Abdul, but they can because they could use him. Vrabel's a defensive coach, so it'd be
Yeah.
bad, for their quarterback. And then the Jaguars have 2 D ends, and they are edge rushers, and they've already starting to pay them. So it's
Right.
like you're gonna get another one instead of, like, you need a defensive tackle. Mason Graham is the best tackle, and pass rushing tackle too. And it's
Yeah.
exactly your big weakness, but your other big weakness is corner. So you're gonna have corner there or tackle, and then you're gonna get Carter. It kind of like, yeah, you're kind of not doing what your team needs,
Yeah.
even though it's the best available player. So then, now the best player that we think, or the generational player, now he's down to number 5 and 6. So, you never know at the draft. You never know what teams find more important. Um,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't see the
crazy.
Titans. skipping on a quarterback. Like, when is the last time you had the number one pick? How often are you going to get that? Next year, if you're
You
not
never
number
know. I
one,
mean, all these guys are
obviously the team
predicting.
that was
Yeah,
trash is going to have the number one pick. They're probably going to get a quarterback, so, and,
yeah.
and there's supposed to be a better prospects of quarterbacks. So, yeah, can you get the best quarterback today? The choice of the litter, or do you want to take a chance of next year and getting maybe the second, third, fourth, or fifth best quarterback? So that's
Mm.
how you got to see it. And we'll know after the first day actually the first week of free agency. We'll get an idea of what's possible, who's who. If Myles Garrett is traded, then maybe Abdul
Yeah,
Carter to the Browns becomes more, happening. So, yeah,
it's like yeah,
whole
it's a
different,
lot of
spider
things.
web.
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That
It's
which
fun. I
but
like it. I like the off
it's
season. It's
fun.
probably better than watching football.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah, well, when we have a season like ours, yeah.
Yeah,
But, and that's what makes, like, Spytek more, like, just, like, feels more
yeah,
comfortable with a guy like him because he
right.
sees all that. He's not gonna jump the gun, he's really gonna be like, "Alright, let's build a team." And then Pete Carroll has that reputation as well, as a team builder,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
the Seahawks
The
have
team
great
builder.
drafting, and, I think Schneider was the GM, I may be wrong. But, yeah, so they've drafted well, and Pete Carroll, he's always had his say on players too, and he was always
Yeah,
at meeting up the players, all the players loved him. So, yeah, I mean, we have a really strong, scouting department and, yeah, player coaches that can find the players, and they wanna get ballers.
yeah.
They wanna get people who love football. So,
Yeah,
that
no,
would
this is
be
a
the
3-year
so
plan, 3 to 4 year plan,
yeah.
bro. And that's the thing, right? They gotta get it together and get it fast. And I'm hoping that they're a little more aggressive, but I guess this is all part of the process. Still
Well,
getting to know players and shit like that. So
Tom Brady
you
makes
know,
it more aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like he brings the
yeah,
money so to go after things. Like we don't get Stafford without what Brady brings, which is, the investor groups will bring in that extra money to put for,
yeah,
to put in the trust fund for the down for the full guarantees of the quarterback or whatever players we bring in. So all of that matters. And I know Tom Brady's not gonna rush things, but he's also trying to put winning things. And he's not
yeah.
gonna
That's what I'm saying.
overpay.
Being
We're not gonna
aggressive
get
to
anything
get
crazy. Yeah,
the difference
because
makers.
Stafford
Exactly. Yeah,
Stafford is aggressive, but that's a difference maker. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
yeah,
we're going in
yeah,
with 95 million in cap. Now that changes with Stafford, but we got a quarterback. And that makes a whole difference right there. Whether it's for a
yeah.
year
No,
or
for
two.
sure, for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, don't get your hopes up, man. I don't agree.
Mhm.
I don't see it happening. I'm not. I hate to be the boom,
Yeah.
the
Right.
party pooper, but
Yeah.
yeah, Stafford is probably going to
The
stay in
Raiders
LA.
can have nice things, man. That's how the NFL
Well,
works.
thanks, Charles Woodson.
Yeah,
Thanks,
they
Charles
can't
Woodson.
have nice things.
Not yet, not yet, not yet. We
Not
got
yet.
Brady, dude. That's all right for now.
Yeah, that was the first nice thing we've gotten, bro. I guess Spytek would be the second.
Yeah, no. So far, we're on a good path here. So
Yeah, as
yeah,
Pete
go
Carroll and
ahead. Sorry.
Raiders. No, I'm just gonna say Pete Carroll too, because after everything we're hearing is like Ben Johnson wasn't really. I mean, he was like one of the first
Yeah,
choices, but
yeah,
after
exactly.
like things hearing from him, it was like, and you can tell they shifted to Pete, and so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we kind of got the guy we wanted to and needed, and yeah, we're doing great. Right spot, right direction.
Raider person.
Raiders, Raiders,
Stay
Raiders.
tuned. Leave a comment below. God damn it. Peace.
Peace. Raiders.